It looks like there is even further reporting coming in backing up the idea that the Switch is not coming this year, unfortunately. I was really excited for Nintendo to come in and dominate the hardware discussion, maybe instill some excitement, because right now, 2024 feels like we probably have a couple of big Ubisoft games. We have AC Red, we have Star Wars Outlaws. There's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming in like less than a week, of course, like a few days or a couple days. And beyond that, it's like, what else is really going to excite people? What's going to really dominate the discussion? I was hoping that would be Nintendo, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The Switch, wrong button. The Switch 2 is targeting March 2025, was delayed to avoid shortages, a new report claims. And it's also being corroborated with other reports that we've talked about before, of course. But this is according to a new report by Japanese news publication Nikkei, maybe? I don't know. Which claims that the Switch's successor's internal delay, reported first by VGC and others earlier this month, was partly so that Nintendo could avoid potential hardware supply issues. Although Nintendo had planned a launch in late 2024 for Switch 2, according to the group, quote, priority was given to ensure the initial inventory of the successor console and a lineup of software titles at the time of its launch in an attempt to avoid widespread reselling, which I think is good. I mean, the thing with like scalpers are just no fun for anybody. It just is no fun for anybody. By the way, Pretty Eye, thank you for the membership. I don't know why it just popped up on my screen, but thank you. But it's just no fun for anybody. It's no fun for anybody. It's just, it's miserable. People come in, they buy it up because they use like a bot. What was the name of that company that I think they're mainly used for like sneakers? Because sneaker people are insane. And like, if you think like scalpers are bad in the video game space, with sneakers, apparently it's a whole other issue. Like it's another world of drama. It's crazy. But there was a bot system that was used for sneaker scalping, and people started using it for scalping PS5s. When the PS5 launched, they used it to scalp like 4080s, 4090 graphics cards all over the place. And it was just really toxic because it's basically a bot. You plug it in, you give it your like PayPal info, whatever. And then it just is a bot that refreshes the page like once every second over and over and over and over and over again, and waits until inventory shows up. And then it quickly goes through the process of purchasing it for you. And you pay like an extra $50 or $100 a month or whatever for it. And you got your console, but you're able to buy it while it's sold out immediately for everybody else. And then you flip it for twice the price and you make your money back. So a lot of people were doing this. And we've all seen the images of scalpers with 15 PlayStation 5s and 35 Switches back at launch. And they're selling each of them for twice the MSRP. And it just sucks. It just sucks. It also is a thing, of course, with concert tickets. And it's just a bummer. It's a bummer. So it's nice to see that some of these big companies are trying to find ways to avoid that, because the Switch originally had issues with stock as well. I mean, I've told the story many times of when I got my Switch and the drama that ensued there, as me and another guy are like racing through the parking lot trying to get to the counter first because there was only one left at this one Target in all of northern Colorado, and we'd been calling and asking them if it was available, and it was just crazy. I ended up getting it, but it was a crazy thing, and it was just generally sucky because you'd hope, especially for Nintendo, on the one hand, people are like, why do they care about scalpers? Because for them, they still sold the console at full price, whether it was bought by a scalper or not. They still sold out of inventory, so they're happy. But they're not as happy as they could be. They're really not. Because when a scalper buys up consoles, they buy them up at full price, and that's all Nintendo gets for it. It's sitting now on a shelf or in some guy's closet while he waits and tries to sell through his new inventory secondhand. So Nintendo's not making any money during that time. They will then make money when you come in after you bought the scalped console and then go and purchase games. But that could take a month for them to sell through that inventory. It could take 2 months. You just never know. Whereas if they can get the consoles to actual gamers, they make their money on the games right off the top, immediately. You know, then you come in, you buy it from Target, from Amazon, wherever, and then you go and you buy a $60 game here, $70 game there, $40 game here, each through the Nintendo eShop, and they get a 30% cut of each and every single one, and they're happy about it. So it's more about maximizing revenue. Like, yeah, they can sell out of inventory, but they'd much rather sell out of inventory to people who are then going to buy more stuff because now they have the console. So to see them trying to shore up supply is very, very interesting. A lot of people also thought, I remember doing a presentation in college about the Switch and artificial scarcity, because at the time there was a lot of debate over whether or not they intentionally withheld inventory, specifically so that people would be more excited about the console, be all like, "Ooh, I gotta race and get it. I gotta find a way to do it." And it wasn't actually real. It was all part of a conspiracy because they wanted to hype you up for it to make it all the more exclusive that you couldn't find it anywhere. I don't think that's the case. That was kind of the conclusion we reached during the video, or during the presentation, but it was an interesting theory nonetheless. But to see them now focusing on trying to fill up inventory is super cool. They say that the next Nintendo console will again be a hybrid portable home device similar to Switch. The publication also corroborates the machine will have a larger screen than the original 6.2-inch display. Apparently, it's been rumored it's not going to be OLED either, which feels like a step down than the OLED version we have now. They noted that it could slip beyond March 2025, depending on manufacturing and how much software is ready for launch. It also seems they want to avoid an issue like they had back in 2017, because back in 2017, they pretty much had Breath of the Wild, and then they had like Snipper Clips, I think was one of them, and I think that was it. Like, there really was not much. There were like maybe 5 games, and one of them was good. Like, it was really, really rough. So they're trying to avoid that and have a bigger lineup. And already right now, I mean, it looks like they probably day one have a new Mario game and an actual new Mario Kart that's not just the Wii U version, but an actual new Mario Kart. They probably port Smash Brothers to it day one with the full roster. And that right there, those 3 games, I think are enough to probably bring it in and help it find success. Oh yeah, 1-2 Switch. How could I have forgotten? So yeah, there's a lot of upside to this, but I think they just want to make sure that when they launch, they have enough inventory for everybody to get it, and they probably want 3 to 5 locked in full price first party games that you're going to buy for $70 a pop. So you're buying, let's say it launches at $300, and then you buy even just 2 full price games, they just got you for $440 right off the top. They sell you 3, you're all the way up to $510. That's what they want. And the margin on software is way bigger than the margin on console sales. So for them, probably the only way they really find a good amount of profit from the launch of this console is if they have first party games to sell day one. Like, that's going to be the key. So it makes sense that they're probably taking their time, because honestly, yeah, the Switch 2 will sell well if it launches in December or November. It's also going to sell really freaking well if it launches in May or if it launches the next December. It's going to sell well regardless. It's just a matter of when they get it out the door. They have some external pressure from investors to get it out sooner rather than later, because it was expected this fiscal year. But if they are like, hey, we just need more time, I think investors will go along with it. You might see a little dip, but nothing huge. Let's see. They said, yeah, earlier this month, we talked about this on stream as well. Nintendo told publishers the next console would launch in Q1 of 25. According to the sources, third-party game companies were recently briefed on an internal delay in Nintendo's next-gen launch timing from late 24 to early next year. One publishing source suggested the delay was so Nintendo could prepare stronger first-party software for the console. Interesting. Naturally, when the reports dropped, they dipped as much as 8.8% before settling on an overall loss in value of about 5.8%. And this is pretty much all just because the investors expected it to release this holiday, and now it's being pushed out. So it's like, okay, well, that's not great. It also, to like delay it to prepare stronger first-party software for the console, suggests that difference of a few months is the key difference in it shipping or not shipping with first-party games, which it's just kind of tighter than you would expect. You'd expect, like, they've seen this coming for a while. Why are they struggling now? So it's going to be interesting. I'm very excited. I am kind of hoping it's not just the Switch, but with different colors. Like, I kind of hope it's a very different thing. And Nintendo's usually pretty good about that, but I guess we'll see. I don't think it's gonna be wildly different. I mean, probably not. I would hate for them to have a Wii U situation. I think what they're gonna do is, instead of, like, Nintendo's okay with having, you know, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP. Like, they can have different variants of that. They could have the Nintendo DS, 3DS. They had a 2DS. Like, they had all of these variants that were the same console, basically, just slightly tweaked. And it seems like that's probably what they're going to do with the Switch, is that they're going to do the Switch Ultra, the Switch Plus, the Switch Flip, the Switch whatever it is. And it's just like a folding Switch that you unfold and then it's 2 displays or something like that. And that, I think, could be interesting and could be really wacky and fun and successful. And it would still be different from the current Switch. Different enough, but also the same thing, especially if they bring your current library to the Switch day one. So it's like all those games just work. It's going to be great. That could be successful. The problem with the Wii U was that they did kind of a half-ass thing where they did half new console, half the same as the old one. So, like, you could use your Wii controllers, if I remember right, you could use your Wii controllers on the Wii U, and Wii games would work on the Wii U, but it was supposed to be a new console that was also able to play stuff the Wii couldn't play. So it just didn't do things clearly. So a lot of people thought it was just a new controller and nothing more. He took my thing. Red flag.